Hey, I am a bag getter. All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm here with Mr. Howard Burrell. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
making this possible. Tell the people who you are and what you do. How would you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm an American that really kind of fits today, for lack of a better word. I was born and raised in the rural state of Mississippi, a state that at one time had the well-earned reputation of being the most dangerous place in America for African Americans to live. I thank God. I'm 76 years old. I really am.
You look good.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Oof.
Those genes came from my mom. She's 95 and she's still alive. She still lives in Jackson.
God bless her.
So my mother and father separated before I was 6 years old. My mother only has an 8th grade education. And the reason I say I'm one of these Americans that kind of reflect who America is today is that the country has been constantly trying to achieve that more perfect union that's articulated as an objective in the Constitution. And I like to think that I'm hope that it could come true to some extent. So I was born and raised in the state of Mississippi, spent some years in the Air Force. I went right across the state line to Tennessee where I went to undergraduate school, Tennessee State University, one of the historically black colleges and universities. That's where I met my wife, she was from the state of Tennessee. When I graduated, in addition to getting my BS degree in marketing, I also was commissioned a second lieutenant in the Air Force.
You say marketing?
Marketing, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm a marketing major as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And that just opened up the world for me because the town that I was born and raised in had about 500 people. The only thing that made it the town is that we had a post office and a stoplight. My wife is from a slightly larger town in the state of Tennessee, so neither one of us had never been anywhere. But from getting that commission in the Air Force, I've lived in many states throughout the nation, traveled through many of them, lived in many countries.
Probably really broadened your worldview.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely broadened my worldview. When I got out of the Air Force at the end of the Vietnam War, the military had more soldiers than what it needed. So they offered all of the young officers, and I was a major at the time, early outs. They wanted to give you a base pay to get out. And I had never had an interview outside of the Air Force before. So we took the money and left the Air Force. Not because
So you served in Vietnam?
I'm a Vietnam area veterans.
Wow.
I was in the Air Force, and like most of probably only about 5% of the people who were literally in Vietnam and got killed were Air Force people. They weren't Navy, it was mostly Army. My Vietnam service was, I was assigned to Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, and we were flying B-52 missions over Vietnam. So that's not little action in the country. I don't want to take away from those guys who really paid their dues there. So I'm a Vietnam area veteran. In fact, I'm a life member of the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for your service, by the way. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. After I got out of the Air Force, I went to work for Whirlpool Corporation. First time I got a chance to use my marketing degree, I bought all of the plastic parts and raw materials that they used in making refrigerators, freezers, air conditioners, and dehumidifiers. That was in Evansville, Indiana. I did that for a couple of years, and they promoted me to their corporate headquarters on their marketing staff. And while there, a company here in the state of New Jersey offered me a job here. So I left and came here.
That's how you got to Jersey?
Yeah, that's how I got to Jersey. In fact, Vernon is the only place I've ever lived in New Jersey.
Oh,
and I've lived here longer than I have any other place in my life. I've been here 41 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've done a lot of things in New Jersey. I've served 9 years on the Vernon Board of Education, 2 years as that board's vice president, 3 years as its president. I served 2 terms on the Vernon Town Council. I served a term as a Sussex County commissioner, and a senator at the time, John Corzine, wanted to run for mayor. He wanted me to run his campaign in Sussex County. I did. He won. And he appointed me as Assistant Director of Labor. So during the 4 years of the Corzine administration, I was Assistant Director of Labor for the state of New Jersey. And then when Mr. Christie defeated Corzine, I stayed on for 6 months as his deputy commissioner until they got somebody in their political party they wanted to appoint. And here I am, I ran for election of mayor, and and here I am in the mayor. I got a 4-year term, and I'm in a little over a year and a half through that term.
Wow, that's
quite a resume, and who I am. I'm married. My wife, 55 years. We got 3 kids.
We have 55 years?
Yeah, 55 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's beautiful.
In August, 55 years. We've got a daughter who's our oldest, who lives in Newport News, Virginia. She works for an insurance company called USAA. My son, who's a lawyer, lives in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And we got another son who lives out in Bushkill, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. So, what inspired you to get involved politically?
Well, I grew up at a time where it was almost impossible for African Americans to vote. I was a second lieutenant in the Air Force before I could literally vote in my home state of Mississippi. They had these tests, for example. If you wanted to go and vote, first of all, you had to pay. It was a poll tax. You had to pay money to vote, a tax. Everybody, there was a poll tax for everybody. And then second, there would be a test that you had to take. You had to pass before you voted. And the test would say things like, what is the 10th word in the 8th sentence in the Constitution of Mississippi? Now, they had to give this test to everybody. So that's the kind of question that they would ask a black person. A white person, they would ask, what's the first letter in the spelling of the state of Mississippi? They did all kind of things like that. So I really valued and treasured voting. And after the Voting Rights Act was passed, that's when I got a chance to vote. And I knew that someone is always going to be making a decision. If you choose to sit by and let someone else make that decision, they're going to make a decision for you. And I committed to the fact that I would never let anybody else totally make the decision for me, even in situations where I knew my point of view was not going to prevail. I always got involved, and I just let people decide. So that's really my motivation. And I also think too that we never do anything totally by ourselves. I think that when the Creator puts us on this earth and gives us an opportunity, we have an obligation to help those who are coming along with us. And when we don't do that, I can't help but think that we are not fulfilling our mission on earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe that so much. I heard a quote. It was something like, all of what God gave us, our talents, our skills, all that stuff, that's His gift to us, and then what we do with it is our gift back to Him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, coming to Sussex County, you said you've been here 41 years. What did you love about it, back 41 years ago, and what do you love about Sussex County now?
One of the things that the military gave us was the ability to be afraid to venture out and go places and do things. Because in the military, we were moved every 2 years. My first assignment was Amarillo Air Force Base in Texas. I was there for 2 years. Then I was stationed in Southern California, Norton Air Force Base in California. Then I was stationed in upstate New York, a place called Rome, New York, up in Oneida County for 2 years. And then when our daughter was 6 months old, I was assigned to the Islamic Republic of Turkey for a couple of years, 2 different locations there. Wow. Then I was stationed in Georgia before I got out. So in the military, you are either always moving or someone's always moving. And you kind of get used to that. And so you're not really afraid to venture out. One of the things that we realize is that the key for both of us, I'm the first one in my family to ever get a college education, so is my wife. So we realized the value of that. So we wanted to move to a place where there were good schools, and Vernon had very, very good schools, and where there were affordable homes. And Vernon Township kind of fit that bill. And so that's why we moved to Sussex County. In addition, they were looking for teachers here. My wife's a teacher. She taught in many places where I'd been. And she was a substitute teacher for 2 years. And then after that, she found a permanent position. And so she's taught about 30 years here in Vernon, mostly 4th grade. So that's kind of like why we came to Vernon. And the thing I liked about it, there was good schools and affordable homes. Now, I understood that at the time that I moved to Vernon, probably less than 1% of the population of Vernon is black. Right now, about 3% of the population of Vernon is black. But because of the fact that we had been moving around, and most military bases are not in big metropolitan areas.
Okay.
So, and you know, we had come from segregated backgrounds anyhow. So I take the approach that I'm going to be what I am. I'm going to try to be a good citizen, try to be a good person. And if people don't like me because of my race and my color, then I'm going to let that be their problem, not mine. I'm not going to be forced to live in a place and do things that I don't want to do. So, you know, I think that ended up being an asset to us as opposed to a liability, because for most people, we were the first African Americans that they had come in contact with on an equal basis. I did all of the things that most fathers do. I coached Little League baseball. I did all different kinds of things. My wife was a teacher in the school system, and she happened to be a pretty good teacher. And we had situations where we had parents who were petitioning the superintendent to get my wife, get their kids in my wife's class. Wow. When my two kids went to Vernon Township High School earlier, they were two of like 3 or 4 black kids up at the school, and they happened to be pretty good. My son was a very good student. He finished like number 3 in his class. He was a very good athlete. He still holds a lot of the records in Sussex County. He made all-state wide receiver in football. He did good in basketball. My daughter was the first and only black girl to ever be a cheerleader in Sussex County, to my knowledge, at least at Vernon Township High School. But the truth is that if we had been robbing banks, people would have noticed, because they couldn't help but notice stuff. And the mere fact that probably we didn't fit some people's most negative stereotype caused people to kind of look at us and kind of trust us. And to be truthful, I think that I benefited from that a little bit. I'm probably not as good as people thought I was. You know, Howard is okay. I'm a registered Democrat in an area that's highly Republican. And when I got ready to run for office, because of the fact that school board positions are nonpartisan, people said, yeah, I don't like those Democrats, but I like Howard, and I like his family. And so I kind of benefited from that a little bit. And the thing that I kind of like about Sussex County now is that I really think that because we are a rural county and not very densely populated, we have a real opportunity to not to make the same mistakes that a lot of other places have made in terms of how they treat people and how they deal with things. And we have an opportunity to kind of show the nation the way in many ways. We really, really do. You know, and you know, if you get the right mixture of people. For example, the young guy who is the chief of police here in Vernon was a guy who was in my Sunday school class. There's a big difference between our ages. He was in my Sunday school class as a young boy, and now he's a chief of police. Wow. I know what his background is like, I know what his values are like, and he and I have certain kind of conversations, and he knows that he's got somebody to support him. He knows that if there's ever anything in terms of what you hear about how some law enforcement people act in other places, he knows that they won't have my support. He knows I'll be the first one standing up saying, let's get rid of this person. Let's change this. And he will be right there beside me. So we've got these unique kind of situations. I really think that probably if I had been in a metropolitan area where the population was about 40% black, I probably wouldn't be mayor. Because it's interesting.
No, I
when
get it,
people, when the population of any minority get to a certain size, people begin to no longer see you as an individual. They see you as that minority people. So people see me at Howard's black, and I got some feel about, but I like Howard. You know, I have an opportunity to be judged on my own as opposed to kind of as a group. So a lot of folks will look at that and say, how do you live up in Sussex County? How do you guys do this? But in reality, I've done more things and I've done more things and been able to make more progress in a lot of things here than I think I would have if I had lived in some other metropolitan area.
Because you get to live as an individual.
Because I get to live as an individual.
And you're seen as an individual. I think, you made some great points about how you being who you are in the area, that we're in, you get to challenge other people, challenge people's perceptions, or create people's perceptions, because a lot of people haven't even, as you said, been on an equal, having these interactions on an equal standing with with black people, and a lot of times up here, people's perception of black people would be what they've seen on TV or
Absolutely.
what they've heard, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, that's super important.
Yep.
That's super important. And yeah, we talked about it before, but just not being put in the box. You know, people are so quick to associate, you know, something, a look with an action. You know,
I'm this black guy who was born and raised in the state of Mississippi, a state that no one claims is the best state for academics or health or anything. Then he's got a PhD and he lives up here in Sussex County. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this kind of person?
Yeah.
You know, they just never seen anybody like me before. But to be truthful, there are lots of us out there that's unique talents and other kind of things. But it never gets a chance to show through because they see you walk into the room. I know you.
They already. Yeah.
I know you.
They already put
I don't have to
box.
listen to you. I know you. You know, and so I've been able to benefit a little bit from that.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, how would you like to see Sussex County grow?
Well, you know, Sussex County has been a county that has been losing population.
Yeah.
We really have been losing population. I think that that's turning around because I know probably about 20 to 25% of the people in Vernon are new people.
Really? Oh, there's that much of a new population. I know with the pandemic, a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
moved in. Yeah.
Now, I'm not so sure how much our total population has grown because a lot of those people have moved in and bought homes for people who have been here for years. There are lots of people who moved here, like my wife and I. They've had these 3 or 4 bedroom homes. Their kids are gone. They don't need a 3 or 4 bedroom home. And for many of them, New Jersey is in general is not a place that they feel they can afford to live. You find a lot of people up here, they say, well, you know, I've had the 2-car garage in the big home. I don't need that anymore. They want to go to states. A lot of times people go to states, they're living in trailers, they're traveling, they're doing other kind of things. And they don't really have to care for the schools alike because I don't have any kids there. And they go to a state that doesn't have any taxes on your retirement fund, those different kinds of things. And those may not be places that they would move to when they had a family. But right now, they want to leave. And some of those people have put their houses up for sale in the past. They've been on the market for 2 or 3 years and we're not able to sell them.
But now
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
You've got people who see the taxes we pay and the cost of homes here is nothing.
Yeah.
And
the stuff that brought you here.
And they want to get out of areas where they can't social distance and what have you. And then in addition, I think that this pandemic has caused us all to reassess a lot of things. What's really important?
Absolutely.
And I'm surprised at the number of people who want to hike and want to be out and want to do stuff. They want to be out. They want to. It's like a sense of freedom to them. So Vernon has gotten a lot of those people, and a lot of those people have brought some ideas, most of which I hope will be positive. Maybe some will be negative. That's going to help change this town.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about Vernon, we're 70 square miles. We have gained a lot of the population that has come to Sussex County, and we've always been kind of a different kind of town. For whatever reason, Vernon has always been a different kind of town. For example, the constitutional amendment that was just passed last year to legalize adult cannabis, I think it was like 65% of the people in this county approved it. 68% of the people in the state, 70% of the people in Vernon.
Oh.
You know,
Okay, Vernon, I see you.
When I ran for what they called freeholder at the time was commissioner, I won every single voting district in Vernon.
Oh wow! Yeah.
As a black, it's really kind of different. Vernon was the first town to ever have a resolution recognizing Gay Pride Month, a day or something. We're really kind of. It's really kind of strange, and I'm not. Vernon is not some bastion of liberalism, but there's a strange mixture of people here, a strange mixture of different kinds of things. And there have been situations when things happen. I know my son was telling me when he was playing football, he was the only black kid on the Vernon football team, and all the other teams they played at that time in Sussex County. Maybe some had a couple of blacks, maybe Newton had some on, but I know that when he was tackled, people would use the N-word and do stuff like that. And his teammates would hear it and he'd go back to the huddle and he said, "Don't worry about that guy, we've got him." And I do know that there have been times when I was on the council and other things, people would come to the meeting. You people come up here from Newark and you want to change things and you want to do things, and I said, well, sir, what people are you talking about coming up here from Newark? People like you. I said, well, I'm not from Newark. I'm from Mississippi.
I know I look like
and then
I'm
he
from
sat
Newark.
there. Oh my God! He wanted to twist in the wind. And the interesting thing is that I didn't have to take this person to task. The other people up there did. And what I don't know what their views were, but what they said essentially is that this is not the kind of town we are, and you're not going to come in here and insult one of our council people, not just insult the black. So Vernon has been that kind of a town for some reason. I don't know exactly why.
You know what? As long as it's moving that, we don't have to know why. As long as it's moving in that direction, you know.
Yes.
And you said it's a 4-year term, right?
It's a 4-year term.
Cool. So you got 3.5 left. Oh no, you got 2.5 left.
I got 2.5 left.
2.5 left.
Yeah,
All right.
2.5 left. You know, I'm honored to have had this opportunity. Yeah. You know, I figure everywhere I go and everything that I do, I'm kind of making history.
Yeah.
And I try to make history for the right reasons, for the good reasons. I want to make it easier for other people to come along. And I see these as opportunities just to kind of open people's mind. And it's not that I'm this genius, this bright person, and I'm perfect, because my mind has been open a lot. I'll tell you, there are people who I've met who I've made some judgments about based on how they looked and some of the things they said and did. And when I got a chance to know them, I found out I was wrong.
Yeah.
So I've grown a heck of a lot too.
Good.
I've grown a heck of a lot.
Good. And everybody should, everybody can, and I think you're a great example of that, and you're an inspiration for a lot of people.
Yep.
So you're talking about making it so that other people have a shot, other people can sort of follow in your steps, and you're doing a great job of that. So thank you.
And this is not only just good just for African Americans; it's good for America.
No.
There's just so much talent in this country. We can no longer afford not to use people because of their gender, because of their race, because of their ethnicity. This stuff has got to stop.
Yeah.
This stuff has got to stop.
100%.
Yep.
Thank
you much.
No, thank you so much.
You bet.
My man. Until next time.
You bet.
Wow, that was awesome,
Yeah, no, that was
man.
great. That was
No,
great.
thank you. Oh, that was awesome.